Carmelo Anthony is on his way back to, he's on his way back to being reunited with his friend LeBron James, going to the LA Lakers.
Ooh.
And we've been hearing about this for a while. These guys met when they came against each other when they were opponents. And there's a great piece that Howard Beck, our friend at Sports Illustrated, wrote talking about them sitting in a stairwell in a hallway at the hotel the night before the game and just becoming friends, basically. Two guys who were in similar situations in high school who could know what that pressure was like to have the eyes of the whole country on them when they were so young. They have been incredibly close ever since. We have been waiting for the time when Carmelo Anthony and LeBron James play basketball together in the NBA. And we have it now. Carmelo Anthony is going to the LA Lakers. What do you make of that, Perk?
Reunited and it feels so good. I tried to tell people yesterday, Rachel, when producer Steve was saying we had to leave out, I couldn't have a chance to redeem myself when Zach Lowe and Ramona and Matt Barnes was disagreeing with me about the big three of the Lakers and the big three of the Nets and who was going to have the better impact. And all of a sudden, guess what? Like them old people used to tell me, my grandmother, boy, don't you touch that stove, it's hot. And then all of a sudden I had to learn on my own not to go touch the stove because I went and touched it anyway. All of a sudden you got to go get the aloe vera plants because you got a burn mark on your hand because I told y'all so. Look, what Rob Pelinka did yesterday, all he did, Rachel, was set the temperature. He set the temperature. He set the temperature by going sign Trevor Ariza, Kent Bazemore, Wayne Ellington, and all of those guys. And now all of a sudden he had the cake ready to bake and he went put it in the oven by sealing the deal and going to get Carmelo Anthony. The mission is complete along with Dwight Howard. Book it. The Lakers are on their track, back on track. You go ahead, Zach. Say what you got to say. Go ahead. Do what you do.
I think you lost Zach at aloe vera, but continue.
Look, I have no idea what just happened, except I'm kind of hungry now. But I don't know what all that was. Look, this is
the truth. The man was speaking the truth. Continue.
This is a great story, and if I recall correctly, Carmelo made the playoffs his rookie year, and LeBron did not. I believe LeBron went to one of his playoff games. I mean, that's to go support him. So it's a beautiful story. And look, this is the kind of flyer the Lakers were going to have to take. They did not have any cap resources left to go. They're going to have to get guys that are chasing rings on the minimum. And Carmelo, to his credit, everyone said, all he wants to do is ISO and shoot twos. In Portland, he bought into a role as a spot-up shooter, shot the three well. That's the role he's going to have to play for the Lakers. But with all of these guys, whether it's Ellington, Bazemore, Ariza, Carmelo, with the exception of Ariza, I think the big question is going to be, when push comes to shove, when you're in the conference finals, when you're in the second round of the playoffs, whatever it is, can you stay on the floor defensively? Do the Lakers, who have made their bones, all the sexy stuff, whatever, they have made their bones on defense.
Yep.
Have they hurt their defense too much in all of this roster building? I think that remains to be seen, but they are going to be a really interesting team.
Well, let me ask you a question. Woj also reporting Malik Monk to the Lakers. What do you think?
Duncan Robinson and giving him a contract that he deserved. We talk about Jimmy Butler and getting his contract extension. And then after the show went off, what did they do? They went stole an NBA champion, a Rough Rider, and P.J. Tucker. Just when Zach Lowe was talking about who was going to be the power forward. Well, there you go, Zach Lowe. I'm looking at this Miami Heat team right now. That starting five you just put up could arguably be the best defensive team in the NBA when you think about who they got as the personnel and who they got leading the charge in Eric Spoelstra, one of the best coaches in the game today.
Yeah, put that starting five back up. That is a nasty lineup. That lineup is going to be no fun to go against. And P.J. Tucker is their answer to Jay Crowder. There he is. They never found a replacement for Jay Crowder. Now, P.J. Tucker is a much less threatening offensive player than Jay Crowder. He only shoots from the corners, and he shot poorly from the corners last season. But Kyle Lowry is an absolutely perfect fit on this team on both ends of the floor. They got to fill out their depth a little bit, but I'm higher on this team on paper than most people seem to be. But that said, you asked me, where do they rank in the East? Perk just gave you a vague answer, up there with the best of them.
Right.
I'll give you a specific answer. They rank third in the East to me. You can't put them above Milwaukee, who just won the freaking championship.
Right.
And you can't put them above Brooklyn, who looked like they were going to win the championship and are quietly having a really good offseason. And so that's where they rank to me. But third with a puncher's chance, not distant third.
Well, first of all, if we learned anything from this season and really the previous season too, you don't know who's going to be there. Having a team that has a shot That's the group you want to be in. And then once you're in that group, chaos happens in the NBA pretty much on the regular, and all sorts of things like injuries, which certainly is still going to be a concern for Brooklyn, given the injury history of some of the Nets' main players. You have to love where Miami has positioned themselves. Now, I will say two things. First of all, we should give Pat Riley credit. We should give Andy Ellsberg, who is the cap wizard and sort of the secret weapon of the Miami Heat. My gosh, he did it again, right? I mean, it's just incredible. To me, this guy does not get enough shine. It's just...
And they're not done. I mean, they still have moves to make, and you can bet they're going to squeeze in every possible scenario right underneath that little hard cap. They've got pieces to fill, but they've done a really nice job. I like this team a lot.
Yep, and then number two, of course, is still wait and see what's going to happen in Philadelphia, because that is a huge tectonic plate that is going to be shifting around in the East, and we don't know what that team is going to be until they figure out their Ben Simmons situation. We got some breaking news, though, of course. Just as we were coming on the air, Adrian Wojnarowski reporting Steph Curry has agreed to a 4-year, $215 million extension with the Warriors. This deal would make Steph the first player ever to have two $200 million plus contracts in a career. Perk, I'm supposed to ask you your reaction, but I think I'm hearing it right now.
Look, Rachel, he deserved every penny of it, okay? And look, I'm happy for Steph Curry and what he did for this Warriors franchise. We're talking about the greatest Warrior of all time, a top 5 point guard of all time, the greatest shooter of all time, and he's not finished yet. I'm not saying that he's going to deliver a championship, but he's going to deliver some must-see TV basketball-wise. He's going to give the fans what they want, just like he did last season. I'm happy for Steph Curry. He deserved every penny and more.
Total no-brainer. I mean,
certainly from the Warriors side.
It all starts with Steph Curry. Yeah. Everything. Every bit of success. All the championships, all the finals runs, all the highlights, all the sellout crowds, a new arena, everything. It all starts and ends with him. And this is what you do when you have a franchise player. You reward them. And by the way, he was in the MVP conversation last year. It's not like he's in decline or anything. And that was without Klay Thompson. That was with a team that was kind of a makeshift team trying to find its way. They obviously have made so far a choice to stay younger and draft younger players, and that's sort of been controversial. But look, this team's going to be really good next year, and this is what you do for an all-time icon. And not just that, an all-time leader and culture setter for that locker room. All the vibes, everything stems from him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and look, there's no question that he deserves it.
Oh, go ahead. Bad, Rach.
No, go ahead, Perk. I thought you were going to chime back in. Go ahead.
I just want to know. I just want to know if Zach could give us that little wiggle when he be hitting those 3-pointers at LA Fitness. Hey, Zach, do you be hitting that?
I'm not even going to dignify this. I hope you just fell off your chair.
I just want to get a little credit. My shoulders are doing an excellent job here. Anyway, there's no question, of course, that Steph Curry, Perk composes himself. There's no question Steph Curry deserves this. The only interesting wrinkle, I think, in this, and this is a good wrinkle for the Warriors, is that LeBron kind of ushered in with those 1-and-1s with Cleveland, and we saw Kevin Durant then do it in Golden State, and then we've seen other people pick it up throughout the league. This idea of players using shorter contracts to hold management accountable, right? Players who realized they were so good, they didn't need the, quote, security of a 4-year deal because they knew in a year or two they could get another big deal. So why not have shorter deals to hold management accountable? Producer Steve is in my ear saying stall, so we got to work on that. But the idea that you hold management accountable. And I think that him signing this deal early, remember, Giannis Antetokounmpo did not sign that Supermax until, the first week of training camp, basically, right? He was already back in training camp, and that was on purpose. The purpose was, let's see what you do this summer. The fact that Steph Curry has signed this extension right at the beginning of when he could sign this extension, that to me is just as much of a message as the holding people accountable guys of saying, I am holding management accountable and I think they're doing good work. I think it is a specific vote of confidence in the front office, and we should note that as well. I think the reason